Howdy folks, this morning soap is brought to us by Wild West Shaving. This is the 2018 Christmas version. Scent on this is cranberry, raspberry, cedar, vanilla, hazelnut, and tobacco. He's got it on the back side there. Makes it pretty nice, especially for somebody like me that has a hard time remembering all the scents. This is what it looks like on the inside. I only scraped on one side there, so you can see what it looks like on the inside there. It's fairly firm in the container, but scoops out just fine, so you can bowl lather quite easily. Good stuff here. I also got the Allen Block no rubber band this morning, and matter of fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this doesn't last me till what, July? It seems like it's gonna last forever. Got the unscented the mentholated witch hazel black ice. Excuse me. I'm going to follow up with a Soap Commander aftershave balm, and this one here is a connection, and this one's woods and berries is a scent on this one here. I figure it'd go good with this. And off camera, I'm going to be using the Cremo beard oil. I almost said balm. Tea tree and mint. It's got some shaven sailor beard oil mixed in with it. It's a Saturday morning. Excuse me. Blade of choice this morning is Rapira Platinum Lux, and it does come in a wrapper like this, and it is also wrapped twice. Don't remember a glue knot or a wax knot on it either. This is the box that the shaver came in. This one here is the polymer one. I really like what they did with this box. To me, it's a lot of what they're saying here. There's what it looks like on the back side there. A lot of what they're saying is pretty much true with this shaver. Have to agree with it. My experience has been really good with this shaver. I've got the shaving cream whipped up in a bowl here, little one, with a ever-ready reknotted brush from Strike Gold Shave. That is a really good looking brush, isn't it? This shaver, the polished aluminum one, is the one that's really, can you say, eating my lunch. I really like to get a hold of that one day. This one here weighs just over ½ an ounce. The polished aluminum is just over an ounce. And there is just an ever so slight overhang right there. Can't tell how the blade is torqued, but really nice shaver. I really enjoy shaving with this one here. Slant razors, when it comes to, I guess you might say, the community. I already put a hot towel to the face this morning with what left of the cube here. Slants, some people really enjoy them. It's what they shave with. That's what they're, in other words, that's all they got. That's all they shave with. Some, on the other hand, don't really appreciate them too much. It's you know, what you prefer, what you like, what works best for you. For me, they're not all slants are created equal. They do shave differently. This one here, it does glide across your face. It's smooth going across your face. At least it is from my experience. It's a very efficient razor. Smooth. Excuse me. And I also have some slants that are not so smooth. They're efficient, but they got a lot more blade feel. If you like that kind of shave, if that's what kind of shave you prefer. In other words, there's a market out there to meet various needs, if you will, especially when it comes to slants. I just think sometimes they get overlooked because people get concerned about it being a slant razor and then thinking that the blade feel is going to be too rough, and some of them are. Some of them do have quite a bit of blade feel. And this one here is not one of them, at least not with my experience. It really does glide quite well. Got the Preshave worked in pretty good. You notice also it works up a little bit on the brown or beige side. Excuse me. And I do whip it up on the wet side. This one here is just a little bit drier than normal. It's not drippy. A lot of times I do whip it up on the drippy side, I guess you might say. Sometimes this is referred to as a yogurt type lather. Try to catch a few videos this morning before I got started. And notice that Scott and Tim posted their shaves, and I'll have a link down below. They're one shave, 3 razors. And there's Ken Service, he put his up. I think there was somebody else, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I watched quite a few this morning. I got some in this morning before I got started. And it was a really good morning to catch it. Got up a little bit early and started later, so that way I can catch a few videos this morning. And some are already putting out their Christmas videos. There's a little bit of feedback with this shaver. But it is pretty smooth. I was watching Fuzzy. That's one of them I was wanting to get to. And Fuzzy, the video I watched, he's puppy sitting while he was doing his shave, and the puppy chewed up his cord to his charger for his phone. Yeah, puppies are quite fun. It was pretty funny. Fuzzy was good this morning when I was watching him. He was shaved with a single edge. That's what he shaves with, single edge. And it's over 100 years old. I think he said 116 years old. And that is really cool. Shaver with a shaver like that, it's got to be awesome. I still get good shaves with it too. That, to me, that's the joys of going down this, I guess you might say, this road, this journey, is trying the vintage shavers, enjoying the shaver that is antique, old, classic, vintage, still shaves just fine. Getting that kind of shave, a good shave with a vintage shaver, just kind of makes your morning. It really does. I have a few, matter of fact, I haven't quite decided how I want to work it just yet. I have, for instance, super speeds. You get the flare tips, and then you get, I guess you might call them the regular tips, if you will. Typical looking twist open, for instance, and the other flare tips. And then I have, don't see a whole lot. I usually see the Aristocrat being shaved with, but I have managed over time, and it's taken a while, especially at the price points I want them at. I do go cheap, and I managed to work up a very small collection. I do mean small, because what you see is what I get, what you get. In other words, that's all I got. Don't have any extra hanging in the wings or anything. I've been slowly but surely working on the, I guess you might say, the Aristocrat, Diplomat, and President shavers. And how I got started on that road is a while back, more or less, first starting wet shaving, and the we were out, you know, looking at antique stores and whatnot. One of them had a batch of uncleaned razors, and the lady was willing to sell me this whole batch, a lot of uncleaned razors, assortment of this and that and everything. And that's how I got a hold of my President. At the time, I had no clue what I was getting. I just saw the shaver and thought it looked really cool, and there were some others in there, and I was just starting out, you know, wet shaving, so I still hadn't, you know, done that much research in the whole thing. And brought them home, cleaned them up, and this one was really looking nice. Twist to open. I mean, the twist to open action was really smooth, and got to looking more and trying to figure out what kind of razor is this. And then I realized what I was getting myself into, and got somewhat interested in it. And those Gillettes along there, they do cover a little bit of a time period that where some changes were made. In that I'll go ahead and rinse that off before I drip it all over me. How they were made, the subtle changes in them. I guess you might say the center bar, for instance, notch or no notch, covering that time period. The knurling on the shavers, how there's different varieties. And considering that's probably what, over a 2-year time period of finally working up, I guess you might say, examples of like an aristocrat, where for instance, up here there won't be any knurling, down here there won't be any knurling. Then there's another version where there's knurling up here, but not down here. And then Diplomat looks an awful lot like the President. It's just a gold version. And then the Rhodium version is the President. And excuse me, at any rate, those differences, you know, not a whole lot, but there are differences in between them. And of course, some of them are before the date code, and then some of them have a date code. They're not bad shape by any means. Considering how old they are and whatnot, I think they're looking pretty good. I got them out this morning, in other words. I saw Scotty's, I need to reply to him, but I was looking over some of the comments, and Scotty had mentioned that, you know, considering what I primary shave, and with shavettes and whatnot, I don't shave with DEs very often, and some of the single edges are in the same boat, doing more of the one shave, 3 razor shaves. And I'm thinking about, maybe I should title it differently, because I don't want to come across, I guess you might say, a piling on the challenge, if you will. I guess you might say, just trying to shed some light on some vintage shavers that perhaps maybe it's just the circles I travel in, since I do, shavettes are kind of sort of my thing, if you will, and dabble in some straight razor shaving, but to shed some light on some very nice vintage shavers. I mean, these are really nice shavers. I guess, in other words, if you're very fond of the Fat Boy, this one here might fall in that category, in that the handle diameter is about like that. The weight, there's a weight difference, but I mean, you can kind of tell, when you're holding them in your hand, you can feel the similarities and how it feels almost the same. Good stuff here. I can still smell it. My nose is working all right this morning. It's hit miss the past, what, 2 weeks now? My nose is, it's not the typical, you know, clogging up, running type nose, as opposed to this is, which is really odd for me, because it doesn't happen that often, because usually it's runny. It's dried out, and man, boy, has it been rough at times to breathe. Now you may have to experiment what blade works best for you. And if you're not used to a shaver that only weighs a little over ½ an ounce, you may have to adjust how your technique is. But this is a pretty smooth shaver. Oh, so in other words, the the lightweight shaver that's slant. In other words, Douglas has got one. The version I got is was it blood red or something like that? Anyhow, it's red. Blood kind of goes along with what might happen with that particular shaver, because man, that blade feel it's there. I mean, it's like, it definitely gets your attention. You will definitely want to pay attention to your technique with that shaver, because there's a good chance if you don't, it's going to be like a shavette and it's going to let you know about it. Very efficient shaver. But as it goes to my opinion, my experience has been is it's not exactly a smooth shave either. It's one that, you know, it's got to be what you're in the mood for. Definitely probably would take care of a few days growth. Oh, speaking of that, Stephen had, with his leaf razor, had, what was it, 7 days growth? Took it off with the leaf. Not that I had any doubt that it would work. That one there too. There's two of them that's really got me, and one to a lesser degree. If it ever comes back, what has happened with the stock, very much interested in leaf. Have been for a while. Just more so for my wife than I guess you might say for me, because I think it'll work out great for her. The fine, the polished aluminum version of this one is just a beautiful looking razor, and I really like shaving with this one. So I'm interested to see how that one is, but that price has still got me. In other words, I guess you might say I'm waiting for the price to drop, and maybe it never will, maybe I'll never get it. But anyway, I still really got a strong interest for that one, as well as the feather adjustable. Like I said, it's kind of odd that the because usually feather does a fairly decent job in having their shavers, you know, stocked where you can get them, and that one there being new on the market and then kind of sort of disappearing. Even though there's only 2 adjustments, but for some folks maybe that's all the adjustments they need. It's just 2, and it's just like a little lever, looks like. Just flip it to whatever side you want it on and continue on with your shave, which is pretty cool. Because if you're kind of thinking about it the way on your adjustable shaves, whether you want to start out with your most aggressive on your with the grain and then against the grain, maybe you want to flip it over to where it's not near as aggressive, so it'll take care of your neck area. It's like Tim was talking about, and I think Josh shooting the shave, I saw his video this morning. And you know, the going against the grain on the neck or even across the grain on the neck may not be such a good thing for you. And switching that aggressiveness with just a flip of the lever there on the shaver, so that you can continue on with your shave. Just flip it over from the aggressive to the mild side, if you will, and then flip it back for the rest of the shave, and do it like that. You know, that's sound like it ought to be an interesting proposition for a number of people, because it makes it pretty easy to switch back and forth. Just something I was thinking about. Last time I looked at it, I think that feather was running right around the $35 mark. So in other words, it's not a real expensive razor by any means. Got just a little bit of stinging down here on my neck, right there. Maybe I didn't stretch far enough. Busy talking and shaving at the same time. It can be tricky. Trust me. I remember when I first started out. I would do better, I guess you might say, if I did more of the more, I guess you might say, silent videos. Talking and end up getting a few weepers. It takes a while to get used to talking and shaving at the same time, because most of the time you're not talking while you're shaving. Just throwing that out there. Most of us, I think, already know that, but you don't give it much thought. Excuse me. You don't give it much thought when you're doing the video, just how much effort it takes to focus, pressure, angle, and you're talking. Remember what you was going to say. I have, can't remember if I mentioned it before, but I did get the shipment in from Stirling, so I got the unscented methylated one waiting in the wings. I still got some Humphreys though that I might swap in from time to time. Different flavors. One's the cucumber melon, supposed to be cooling. Got a citrus one, and I think the other one is astringent, if I remember right. And that one there, kind of figured I'm going to hold on to that one for a little while, because I figured the wife might need one, and there she goes. Thought this scent here would be a pretty good scent. If I remember right, a little bit goes a long way, so I'm not going to put a whole lot in my hand. I'm going to start out with about that much. I got a link down below to this if you're interested in looking up some of these products. I can say that the Rapira, you might find it cheaper on eBay. You have to factor in the the shipping. So I think, yeah, I would look. I got a razor blade club. I got a link down below for that, but you might want to look at make sure that eBay doesn't have somebody selling it at a a cheaper price. And it'll be a little bit cheaper. It may not be a whole lot, but like I say, when you're trying to work within a budget the way I do, $2 here, $3 there, starts to add up, and there's me a soap from Russell. That's how I kind of look at it. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, Russell has some soaps on sale. He's got a lot of scents. I think there's 9 or 10 of them still available for sale. I think they usually start right around the $5.99 mark. If you're interested in hunting down some of Russell's soaps and get them on the cheap, if you will. This seems like it works in okay. It just takes a little while for me to work it in. It doesn't feel greasy, oily, or anything quite like that. It just takes me a little while to work it in, it seems like. That or it's just me. I do prefer to work it in instead of just letting it lay on top. I think my nose just quit working. I don't smell anything right now. I don't even smell the witch hazel. And that's been like that all week. Like I said, I get partway through the day. I can kind of tell. It's starting to do its thing again. Don't smell a thing. Things don't taste right. That's a shame around Christmas. With all the good food coming up. And your taste buds are out of whack. Yeah, that looks like it's working in pretty good. I think I'll stop there. I'm going on almost 25 minutes. I had a lot of fun. I enjoy shaving with this shaver. It is quite the shaver. Lightweight. I think it's 0.52 ounces, I think. That's what it looks like on the underside. You can kind of see that bar has torqued, and you can see the blade. And when you take the the bottom plate off, it just the blade just pushes it off. Yeah, it torques it pretty good. That's what the blade looks like there on the inside there. It's a lot of fun. This is a very unique shaver. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.